What's up, everyone? Welcome to another YouTube Hangout. Super excited to be here with a new friend. Her name is Carolina. She's launching a new podcast. This might be the first episode. We'll see. I'm pushing for episode 1, but we'll see how it goes. Carolina, welcome aboard.
Hi, Evan. Thank you so much for having me.
So before just getting into your show, just quickly tell us what the plan is for what you're all about, what you're hoping to accomplish with the podcast, what it's called, where people can find it, all that stuff.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm an entrepreneur from Chile. I'm in my home right now in South America, in my country, Chile. And I mostly create content around social media, digital entrepreneurship, inspiration, helping people achieve their dreams and their goals, and just create a better world. And I'm very excited. I'm launching a podcast related to marketing, and it's probably going to be called Marketing Rockstars Show or something along those lines.
All right, I like it.
And I'm excited to have you, Evan, on board. And thank you so much for your time to speaking to me.
Cool. Well, it's an honor to be here too. Over to you. You run the show.
Thank you so much. So so I surveyed my audience a little bit to ask a few questions for you. And first of all, for the very few people who probably don't know you yet, I would love for you to give us just a little intro of who you are and what is your mission, so that people can get familiar with you.
Sure. I think I'm probably best known for my YouTube channel. We've got just over 1 million subscribers, and it's around helping mostly entrepreneurs, but also wannabe entrepreneurs get a little bit of daily motivation as well as tactics on how to build and grow their business. I have 2 books out that have been well received that maybe we'll talk a little bit about too. And my mission is I want people to believe in themselves more. I believe that the biggest problem in the world is untapped human potential, and I want to help solve that. And so that's what I wake up every day to try to do.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that in your email signature. I love that. I feel like we all have untapped human potential at some point. So I know that you recently wrote, you have 2 books, right? I know your most recent one was One Word, your one word, right? So tell us a little bit more about the concept of your one word and why it's so important for people.
Yeah, so your one word I launched last year. I don't know when you're actually going to launch this podcast. So your one word was in 2016, and Top 10 Rules of Success is 2017, December. The concept of your one word is, I believe everybody has one really important core value to them. And when you figure out what it is that you stand for, life becomes a lot easier. Your business becomes a lot easier. All the decisions that you have to make become a lot easier. And you start living the life and running the business you want to live instead of just trying to live up to the expectations of other people. But when you don't know what you stand for, then it's easy to just say, well, I should do that because they want me to, and that because they want me to. And you're not ever actually living your own life. And I think that's actually most people. I think most people don't know what they stand for, and so then that creates a lot of confusion, a lot of unhappiness, and the goal with the book was to try to help solve that.
That's right. And all right, so the top 10 rules was launched now in December, right?
Yeah, it just came out.
Right. Yeah, I don't have that one. I need to grab a copy. So I'm really curious about how you came up with this series, because I've been following that on YouTube for a few years now. How did you come up with the idea for the top 10 rules, and how do you plan it when you think about someone? How do you come up with those 10 rules? Like, how's the process?
So the very first seed of it was a friend of mine posted a blog post about Kanye West. And Kanye West and Taylor Swift and the whole thing that they had on stage. And that was, I don't know, it was almost a decade ago or more. And it's like, we're still talking about this, I don't know why we're still talking about this. And I like Kanye. I think he does a lot of stupid things, but I think he also is not recognized for the talent that he is. He's won more Grammy Awards than anybody at his age. And he, transitioned from just being a beats person to a rapper to an entrepreneur. And that's always my thing. Like, I like to look at everybody who's had success and see how I can learn from them. And I think sometimes people have a hard time learning from somebody because they see one thing that they don't like. And so what I decided to do was, for my friend, to show him that Kanye wasn't just a terrible human being, that he also had great advice and some good parts to him. I will put together 10 rules from Kanye that were helpful and serving and motivating. And that's what I did. And people liked it. And that was just a test video. It wasn't, I have this bold vision for making top 10 videos of different famous people every day. But people liked it. And then I just slowly expanded that series out. And now it's one of the things that are, I think my channel is most known for, and obviously created the book around it afterwards. Mm-hmm. But it started off as one of many different experiments, and this one happened to work.
Mm-hmm. What would you say are your favorite ones from the entire series?
Wow. My favorite ones for the entire series. So I only put up ones if I've learned something from it. So that's a starting point. If I haven't learned from a person, then we don't put it up. So there's been some people who I was excited to make a video on, but when I saw their content, I didn't like it or learn anything, so we didn't do it. I think I've taken pieces from different people. I know there's one person who I love. There's a bonus video that I have on my channel where it shares the 10 individual rules that I learned the most from people. So as an example, Quincy Jones, one of the rules is from Quincy Jones. And he said, not one drop of my self-worth depends on your acceptance of me. Which I just really loved how he put that. And the rest of what Quincy Jones said was good, but like that was really good. That just hit me really hard when he said it. So I had to save that one. And those have been these few, really solid nuggets that I pulled from different people. And it's all personal to me. You might watch it and say, that one's okay. But what Oprah said was just amazing. Like, great. I think the beauty is everybody can find a couple things at least. In any video where there's 10 rules, I think you should be able to at least apply one or two things to your situation to help make you a better entrepreneur.
100%. What would be your personal, I'm not going to ask your top 10 rules because I know there's already a video on YouTube about that, but today, December 2017, what would be maybe top 2 or 3 rules that you live by right now?
Well, for me, it starts with believe. So that's my one word. And I wake up trying to do things that I believe in. And how that breaks down for me is passion. So I have to work on things I'm passionate about. I'm doing this podcast because I'm passionate about it. I want to see your thing grow and take off and be amazing, right? I think if you're not bringing passion to your work, then you need to go off and do something else.
Yeah.
Your life is too short, and the impact that you can have is being neglected if you're not doing work you're passionate about. I think impact is also super important to me in that I want the work that I do to mean something and to last. I want my grandkids to watch this video, and my great-grandkids, like today matters. This interview matters. The next interview matters. Every moment matters, and I want to have a lasting impact with it. If work I'm doing isn't impactful, then I want to move on from it and go do something more.
Yeah.
And then the third part of belief for me is just self-confidence, and that's I think growth curve where I'm confident in a lot of things, and other things I still need to get more confident in and still improve on. So I don't know if you ever get to an end goal with that, but just constantly believing in myself, my abilities, my knowledge set, and just keep doing what I'm doing and doing it well.
Yeah, you're certainly doing a good job. That reminded me of Tony Robbins when he says, constant and never-ending improvement is one of his one of the things he talks about at the seminars. Talking about belief, because you talk about that a lot, and there are so many people today who are struggling with that, with self-confidence and believing in themselves. What would be a piece of advice for someone who, they have the talent or whatever, they have the passion, but they just don't believe in themselves?
So a couple things. I think one, take a look at your environment and start to adjust it to allow you to feel that sense of belief more. And so, if you want to be a singer, as an example, and your parents say that you can't be a singer and it's the worst idea in the world, and all your friends say that you suck at singing, and that makes it a lot more difficult to go off and be successful as a singer. It's not that it's impossible, just your environment is really bad. And I think most people's environments are pretty bad. I don't think most people want to do what their parents did. I think we may pick up values from them, but we don't want to do the same work as them. You know, like you're launching a marketing podcast. Chances are your parents were not launching marketing podcasts.
Not at all.
Right? But you may take their same values and how you treat people and how, you know, how you want to, what's good. Like, what is the definition of good? You know, we tend to take that from our family, but not the work that we should do. And so the environment may not be great. And so you don't, I'm not saying you need to cut out your family, but in general, you want to now limit the exposure to negativity and replace it with positivity. So, you know, in my office, I have 5 big canvases that are behind me, and those all mean something to me. For people watching a video, they may not understand what that means or who those people are, but to me, each one represents something to me. And here's what you want to have happen. When you have a great environment, you walk into it without having to think, and you're instantly feeling that sense of pride and confidence. Where if you have to wake up every day and motivate yourself, some days you can do it, and a lot of days you can't. It's just a lot of work every day. And so what you want to do is have it automatic for you. And so having an environment is really important. The other thing I would say is, for anybody who's struggling with that goal that they have and they struggle with that sense of belief, you have had moments where you have felt unstoppable and you felt extremely bold. You know, even for you launching a podcast, there may be some days where it's like, this is, yeah, of course, I'm going to crush this. It's going to be awesome. And other days like, oh my God, who am I to launch a podcast? This is scary.
I agree.
This is crazy, right? And this is everybody, right? Everybody's having the same self-talk. So what I recommend is figuring out what led to those moments of you feeling bold. The days where you feel like, man, I'm going to make the best podcast ever. Next year, I'm going to launch this. It's going to be amazing. What led you to think that? Were you reading a book? Were you listening to another podcast? Were you watching a video? Were you, like, whatever it is that you were doing, try to understand what your triggers are and then put that into your morning routine so that every day you start with this activity. So if it's reading, you know, for me, the reason why I wrote the second book, The Top 10 Rules of Success, was I was reading a page a day. So I read one page every morning, and in it, there's 2 rules from somebody who's super successful. And when I wake up, I'm tired, you know, I go to the bathroom, and then I drink a glass of water, and I read a page from the book. And when it does it, it resets me. So instead of thinking I'm tired and I'm just woozy and I'm waking up, boom, I get hit with these ideas from Steve Jobs, and now I'm thinking on a bigger scale, right? That's me. It's understanding what works for you, and then with intention, putting that into your morning, because too often we get inspired on a Thursday afternoon by listening to some podcast, and then you're on fire for the rest of the day, and you wake up on Friday, and then what happened? You're starting over every day. And so it's like brushing your teeth. You have to do it daily. And so figuring out what that trigger is for you and put it into your morning routine, because you have felt that. Everybody listening has felt that at some point in their life. Understand what led to it and do that. Because if you started every day of your life for the next year with something that made you feel bold and confident, your life would be unrecognizable by the end of the year compared to when you started. The problem is those moments of confidence just are in tiny little spurts. We hit them like 5 days a year instead of 365.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah, morning routines. It's a struggle. Still for me, it's still a struggle sometimes. How do you design your morning routine? Is it always changing, or do you have something very specific you do besides reading the page of the book? What else do you do to set yourself up for success?
Yeah, so it's a constant adjustment. I don't know that you have a morning routine and then forever that's the only thing that you ever do. I think as you grow and evolve as a person, then your needs change, and so your morning routine needs to change. I think what's helpful is to tweak it as you recognize that you're changing, as opposed to not changing it for 5 years and then feeling like this is just a huge waste of my time what I'm doing now in the morning. And so it's that constant tweaking. I'll say what mine is. I think more important though than what mine is helping people figure out what theirs is through the exercise. But you know, I wake up, I go to the bathroom. I'll drink water because you're dehydrated, and I found that as soon as I finish drinking water, I just already had a little bit more energy. I'll read a page from the book. Then I'll go take my dog out. We have a little tiny dog, 8-pound dog. Got to take him out for a quick walk because he has to go to the bathroom too. Then I'll come back up, and I'll usually do 30 minutes on the bike as a workout, and I answer social media questions from my audience. So I hit up Twitter, Instagram, Facebook stories, and what's the last one? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook stories, Snapchat.
Oh yeah, Snapchat.
And I'm just responding to my audience. And I actually made it that I don't check any of those platforms unless I'm on the bike. So that makes me want to go on the bike because I want to see, do I have a new Twitter message? Can I respond to people? And so I also like them because you can do video. So I'm on the bike, pedaling, and I'm doing my responses. So I look forward to doing the bike, and the time flies because I'm doing work that I love as well.
Of course.
Then I'll come back upstairs, do some Wim Hof breathing exercises. That's helped me not get sick this year, which is amazing because I used to always get sick. And then hop in, have a quick shower, and end it freezing cold. And then to work. Then every day is a different day, but I usually fit all that in every morning, and that's what sets me up. Now again, it's just that's what works for me. You can take pieces and try it, and you know, you put on that hat and you see, huh, does that feel right? Does it fit? And if not, you take off that hat and you try something else on. The most important thing is figuring out what gets you feeling bold and confident, and then putting that into your morning routine every day.
So you would say that would be like a good experiment for people to figure out their own routine, like putting themselves in that position of, okay, what gives me confidence, and do that every day.
Yeah, I think most people wake up like an accident. I think most people wake up and they don't have a clear intention of what they're going to do for the first half an hour to an hour, right? They're rushing to get somewhere as opposed to saying this is important time. I think most people wake up and they hit the snooze button on their alarm clock.
I've done that.
And most people do that every day. Yeah. Think about what that means. So you go to bed, you set a goal for yourself that I'm going to wake up at 7 o'clock, as an example. And then the first thing you do at 7 o'clock is you say, I'm not going to hit that goal today. The very first thing you do every morning, I'm not saying you, Carolina, but people watching or listening, right? If the very first thing that you do is let yourself down on a goal that you set for yourself, how are you going to go off and have an empowering day? Right? And so the snooze button needs to be eliminated. Set a time that's realistic for you to wake up. And it starts with the evening before, right? So it starts with the evening before, not staying up till 4 in the morning and then expecting to be able to wake up at 7 in the morning, right? Because all of these things build habits. And all of these things impact our own confidence of what we feel we can and cannot accomplish. Because if I am setting an alarm every day to say I'm going to wake up at 7 and then I never do it, I hit the snooze every single morning, and then I say, well, I'm going to launch a podcast next year. How do I have the confidence to do that? Because all I've trained myself is that I set goals and I don't accomplish them. If I can't even wake up on time to a snooze, right, then how am I going to do something big like a podcast or whatever it is that people want to do? But if you train yourself that I'm going to wake up at 7 and I wake up at 7 and I go and I do my morning routine, then you start the opposite. You start building confidence that when you say you're going to do something, you actually follow through when you do it. And so all of these little micro moments are really, really, really important. On a daily basis, like one day doesn't make a huge difference, but it's, you know, you are where you consistently do. And so if you are consistently following through and consistently hitting these small goals, then you'll believe that you can hit bigger goals, because when you set a goal, it becomes part of your identity. When I set a goal, I follow through and I do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also having integrity with yourself, respecting the promises you make to yourself. So that's important.
And you may need to make some adjustments to your schedule. So as an example, I usually wake up at 7. I usually go to bed. I start winding down at 10 o'clock. So I'll shut off all my devices, the computer, the TV, 10 o'clock, we shut it down. I'll take my dog for a walk. I come back up. I spend some time with my wife. We'll, do some stretching and do some gratitude. And, we have this aromatherapy thing. We'll put that on. Right. And so we have an evening routine, which helps you fall asleep. Last night, my brain was just buzzing with ideas. I was up till 3 a.m. I went to bed. It didn't work. I was up till 3. I turned off my alarm that I usually set for 7, and I set it for 8 because I have a full day of interviews and all this other stuff happening today. So I'm working off of 5 hours sleep today, which is less than ideal for me. That's not a normal thing. But I had to adjust. I didn't set the alarm for 7 and then snooze and get up at 8.
Yep.
I realized it's going to be really hard for me to work on 4 hours sleep. So I'm going to give myself the 5, and I'm going to set the alarm for 8 and get up at 8.
There's a big difference between snoozing and just the night before realizing that, hey, I need to tweak my day. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if that's constantly, like if every day you're waking up, you're going to bed at 3 a.m, then you need to make a bigger adjustment. But you just recognize that not every day is going to be perfect, and you plan for that, and so you're not letting yourself down.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I also wanted to ask you, because you mentioned social media, and I know you've been an entrepreneur for a long time. So first I want to ask you, what was that turning point for you when you decided I want to be an entrepreneur, and then when things began to happen and you achieved the results or the success that you were after? What was that turning point? What happened, or who did you have to become for that to happen? And then later I wanted to ask you something about social media, but let's start with that first.
Okay. So it started when I was really young. I had a lot of entrepreneurial tendencies, selling my own art, selling baseball cards, all these mini ventures, but it wasn't popular to be an entrepreneur, and it just wasn't an option. Like I didn't know that it existed to start your own business. It wasn't in my family. I never really thought of it as an option. Then when I was in university in my first year, I went to Paris, and I had, long story short, I wanted to ask this girl out, and I was afraid to do it, and I didn't. And I ended up trying to take a picture of that location, and I put it on my wall just to remind myself that the next time I have an opportunity, I'm not going to live with regret. Because I was just too afraid for her to reject me and I get a no, but then I wouldn't have known what could have happened, right? And then you live with that constant what if? And so I didn't want to live with regret. So the next time, I promised myself, the next time I had that kind of situation, because I looked at that picture every day on my wall, I was going to take the bold decision, even if it meant failure, because I can deal with failure, but I can't deal with not knowing. So the next year, I was in university, and I got an opportunity to join a startup company. And I was conflicted because I had the chance to do the banking job that I thought I wanted and get $80,000 to $100,000 salary starting, flying around the world. Like, this is what I thought I wanted to do. Or go to this startup with scientific software where science was my worst subject. I sucked at science. I didn't know how to code. And I'd be making $300 a month. What do I do? And, my friends said, well, take the job, of course. Like, this is what we're all fighting for. And there was no logical reason to go with the startup company. But I just remembered the girl in Paris and the picture on my wall that I've been staring at for the past year. And I thought, I might regret this. I might regret not taking the startup opportunity. I could get another job in a year. It may not be the same job. It may not be flying around the world. It may not be the same money. But I could get another banking job if I wanted to. This startup thing, I don't know if I'm going to get another shot at it. And especially once you get on the corporate ladder, it's a lot harder to jump off to do it. So I said, okay, I promised myself the next time this came up, I was going to do the strong thing, the bold thing. And so I decided to be an entrepreneur and go for it. And it sucked. for like the first year was terrible. It was the most depressed I've ever been in my life. The least confidence I've ever had in my life. I never thought about going back to get a job, though, which is interesting. I just thought about doing something else. a different business because I felt worthless. But anyway, we figured out how to make the business work. A couple years later, we built it, we sold it, and I never went back to being having a job ever again.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So yeah, that's interesting because you failed, but instead of retreating and going back to, you know, a job, you decided to just try something else. I think a lot of people, when they face failure, they get so scared, they try to find security again or something.
Yeah, I think it's just hard to go back. I think once you make that decision, I think the idea of being able to go back gives you the comfort to do the hard thing.
Yeah.
But then you're never actually going back. If it doesn't work out, you're not going back to that job. You're not going back to that boss. You're going to find something else to do.
100%. Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, about social media, the thing I wanted to ask you is, I see you're very active, and I remember when I reached out to you and I said, "Hey, can I interview you?" I asked in a very like casual way, and I was not expecting an answer. And you took the time, you made a little video, and I see you do that a lot. You reply on video at least on Twitter, I see it a lot.
Yeah.
What kind of an impact has that had on your business, having that kind of dedication to people, and of course specifically video marketing, and you know, how would you say that has impacted everything you do?
So you probably got a response while I was on my bike working out in the morning.
Yes, you were.
Probably between 7:30 and 8 in the morning. I'm on my bike. So I think it's really important to understand that there's many different strategies you can use to build your business. Many different strategies. You have to pick the one that fits your personality and what you love doing the best. And so my hesitation with all of this in giving general advice is, video marketing is amazing. It can really work well, but if you hate it, don't do it. And there's lots of other ways that you can grow.
Yeah.
For me, I love video more than anything else. I'd much rather do even this. We're doing this as a video on my channel, and then you're going to take the audio and it's going to be a podcast for you. I love being able to see you. Like I love video. It's how I learn. I would much rather do a video than to write an article or to do, can you answer these 5 questions by email? You know, I just would, it's my style. In terms of the engagement and connecting with the audience, what I love about Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat is the ability to do a video reply. And so I don't know why YouTube doesn't let you do it. You think YouTube is a video, you know, that's what they do, but you can't make a video reply as a creator, which really bothers me. And so I respond to some of the comments personally, and my team responds to most of them and saves some important ones for me. But on Twitter and the other ones, I like people knowing that it's me.
Yeah.
You know, when you reach out to me and say, "Hey, Evan, can you come on my podcast?" and I'm starting up, I like you knowing that it's me here making this video. It takes me just as long to make a video as to say, "Sure, Carolina, happy to do it." But there's a different feeling to know that like that person took time. Now, I'm on my bike. You know, I'm not, it's a lower quality expectation, right? The lighting isn't fantastic. I'm sweating. I'm gonna be breathing heavy, but you know, it's still, I want you to know that it's me making this video. And I think it means more. I think it means more to you that you got a video with me saying that than just a tweet back. And so because that means something and I enjoy doing it, that's why I do it. Now, it's an effective strategy, but it works because I like doing it as well. Where I think if I would be careful to give general advice to say, okay, every tweet you get, you have to do a video response to. Some people may not enjoy doing that. And if you feel forced to do it, then the person's going to feel that energy too, right? You're like, okay, Carolina, sure, I'll come on your podcast. You know, you're not going to feel the love on that one.
No, totally different energy.
Yeah. So I think it makes a huge impact to be able to see the person. I think a lot of people could do really well at it, and they're missing the boat. They're not doing it. And so I would just encourage you to find a time. Like if social media is important is an important part of your business growth strategy, find a time in your calendar to make it happen. So for me, it's that half an hour every morning. I'm posting a lot. I'm posting to YouTube 3 times a day. I'm posting to my stories on the different channels 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. But I'm not consuming the comments except for this window. And so I'm doing it back to back, and I hop between the different networks. And I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's important, because then you don't get sucked in by all the comments and emails and messages throughout the day, but you have a specific time of the day where you do it. And that way you can go all in and really reply to people. I think that's really valuable, and not a lot of people are doing that, So I really respect that. Well, I don't want to take much more of your time, so I would just love to hear what will be your final words of advice to anybody listening to us, anybody who is whether an entrepreneur or want to be entrepreneur. What do you think they should be focusing on 2018 coming to the new year? What would be your biggest recommendation for somebody just starting out or somebody who's struggling to make things happen?
I would say make today count. I would say the next, the time that you have from the time you're listening to this podcast to the time you're going to go to sleep tonight, make it count. We talked a little bit about it earlier in the interview, but I want my grandkids to see this interview.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Right? I want my great grandkids to see this interview. Like, this interview right now matters. It's important to me, and I'm not checking other things while I'm on here with you. I want to make something beautiful today. Today, not tomorrow, not this year, not by the end of January, like today. I want to make something beautiful. And I'm sure if we got back together, we did this in 5 years, and we're celebrating the 5-year anniversary of your podcast, the first episode, and we'll both be better. We'll both be better. We'll have done this for 5 more years. We'll have a lot more talent, right? We'll be able to create more value. But it doesn't mean that I still can't just give my best today, right now, with what I have. And I try to take that approach into everything that I'm doing. And that's a pretty high standard. And you're going to fall off. But if you can take time to, on a daily basis, create something that you are proud of and want to show your grandkids, if you did that for the next year, imagine, like, you made 365 amazing things you want to show your grandkids. That's a legacy to be really proud of. And you won't help but create something amazing. You may not have it all worked out where you're going to be in 5 years, but if you're every day waking up and doing something that you're proud of, you want to show your grandkids, you will build something amazing, I promise.
Love it. Love it. Couldn't have said it better. Well, thank you so much again for your time, and I really do feel that it matters to you. So you have accomplished the mission today.
I love it. Well, thank you too. Good luck on the podcast. I think you have a lot of love, a lot of warmth, great questions. You asked me better questions already than a lot of podcasts I've been on. So keep your dream going. I'm excited to see where you take your
I will. Thank you so much, Evan, and thanks to everybody watching or listening to us. And I hope to connect with you again very soon. Hopefully sooner than 5 years.
Let's do it. Thanks, Carolina.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.